Today, I'm pretty honoured to have the chance to speak to a man who has, over the past year or so, displayed a level of steely determination that is an amazing example, not only to Speedway fans, but indeed to all human beings. Fans of the sport know only too well the risks that riders take to entertain us all, and sometimes it's easy for some fans to show their frustrations or criticise riders who, in their eyes, maybe aren't trying hard enough or racing with the fullest of commitments. I don't think there's any real Speedway fan anywhere in the world who wasn't both deeply upset and shocked by the accident that Patrick Hansen had at Ostrow in Poland on the 26th of August 2023 while racing for his club Rybnik. Patrick injured his spinal cord as well as breaking his back, and also suffered other injuries as well, and was told at that point by doctors that his career was over. There was even doubt that he would ever be able to walk again. However, that was a year ago, and fans across Poland, back in Patrick's native Denmark, and indeed from all over Europe have followed his progress since then, as he's kind of defied the early prognoses of the doctors and made some quite astonishing progress. I don't normally give interviews a title, but the title of this interview is "The Impossible Became Possible." So I'd like to start by welcoming Patrick, saying hello, and thank you for agreeing to come along and answer some questions for me.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
I'd like to start by going back to the few weeks before your big crash last year. As skipper of Rybnik, at that point you'd helped guide your team to the playoff phase, and things were going really well. You were in the top 10 of the averages in the Polish One Liga, and things were looking great. I'd like to ask you, first of all, were you enjoying the season up until that point, and what were the highlights for you?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Obviously, we all wanna do even better, but I think like I learned a lot. I kept doing steady progress, especially here in Poland. In Denmark, I would have liked to be a little bit more consistent because I had some really good ones, but I also had some really bad ones. But it was in total like pretty good. I also had the third place in Danish championships, which was cool to do that on Danish soil because, like I said, it's always been like a bit of a problem on the Danish tracks, but that was good to get that one. And like I said, in Poland, it was not bad, especially coming to the end. I started to like feel better on the home track also because I struggled in the beginning finding like the good feeling at home. I actually had a better average on away tracks than I had at home here in Rybnik, so that was
Okay.
strange. But in the end, I felt good, and I was like, okay, now I kind of got it. I feel like I got something different. I feel like it's good, going right direction. So yeah, I was feeling really good, but then the crash happened.
Yeah, I mean, I remember sitting watching the beginning of the Ostrow Rybnik meeting last August. It was the start of the playoffs, and your crash came in your very first race. Are you able to talk us through your kind of what you remember about it all?
Yeah, I remember everything because I actually didn't damage my head, thankfully. Um, well, just a normal day at the office. The week before, we had the first leg of the quarterfinal. We won pretty big. I think it was 12 points we won at home.
Mhm.
So we felt pretty good that we were gonna seal the deal on a way track. Like I said, I felt really good. Ostrow is my old home track, so I know this track. I was really keen to have a good one, but no
Mhm.
pressure because we had that average of like having 12 points in front. So yeah, just a normal day, but yeah, dropped the clutch. Had a decent start, but didn't win it. Thought I could come across the guy on gate one. We clashed a little bit, nothing special, but I didn't even realize that my teammate from gate four came across all of us, and all of a sudden he was just there, and like my bike was like instead of leaning left, it was like straightening up and then lifting on one wheel, and I didn't even like manage to think what to do. I just went flying, and I did drop the bike, but way too late. So yeah, just straight into the fence, and unfortunately, my bike took the air fins up in the air, and I landed like underneath, and that was the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in the continental European Speedway Facebook group, there's a lot of fans who are Rybnik fans, and some of them are based in the UK, some of them are based in Poland, and obviously some in Denmark too. And lots of us were actually watching the meeting at the time and having discussions about it. So it was pretty shocking for all of us to see that. And obviously, when you were away to the hospital, you realised pretty soon that things were very serious. I mean, what were your thoughts in the days after that? Did you even, in the early days, kind of think about getting back on your feet and maybe even getting back on the bike at that point?
Yeah, I mean, I was really lucky that first of all, it's worth saying that I was pretty lucky that it happened in Ostrow, where I got some good connections, a few sponsors actually also who got some good connections, and I came quite quickly to the hospital, and there was some good people who could make the surgery,
Hmm.
which was also very lucky because every minute counts on such an injury.
Uh-huh.
So they, a few hours after the crash, I was already on the table under the knife, and they got the job done.
Hmm.
So when I woke up the next morning, I felt like, okay, that's, my legs are moving. It's not bad, but I can't feel my feet, my left feet, and I was like, what is it? And I couldn't move it at the time. Yeah, the
Hmm.
right one was decent. It was not so strong, but I had movement down the foot, even in the toes. But on the left one, I was struggling, and I had like different, like a weird numbness in my glutes and my lower legs. So it was like, okay, I can move, but it's still
Hmm.
something weird. But I was like, if I can move, then it's already a good sign, and then there's a big chance that it's gonna come back. So already the day after the surgery, I was like, I didn't ask them if I could walk again. I asked them if I could ride my bike again, and they were like, well, we didn't think so, and they were like, you know, it's dangerous sport and stuff like this, yeah. And then you're in the situation you are now, and you want to ride a bike, yeah. And I was like, well, can I walk again? And they were like, yeah, probably you will. We
Okay.
don't know how it's gonna look, but you'll probably walk. I'm like, okay, then I'm also gonna ride my bike. Don't worry.
And what were the most difficult things for you over the next 2 or 3 weeks while you were in hospital? And obviously, it was, I mean, I imagine it was really difficult for your family and loved ones as well.
Yeah, they obviously came straight the day after. My mom and dad. Me missus been. She was there actually for the meeting, so that was hard for her. She saw it all even before the surgery, so that was also hard for her. But yeah, I stayed in hospital for like 9 or 10 days, I think, and then straight to rehab actually. And when I came to rehab, even after those 10 days, I couldn't really do nothing. Like I could barely get myself from the bed to the wheelchair. I needed help with that in the beginning.
Hmm.
So that was difficult, not being able to really do much because, well, I could move my legs, but I had absolutely no strength. So yeah, the first days was difficult. Also rehab, I had to like, all the exercises were like laying down and doing some basic movements. So super boring, super hard, and also in the beginning it was painful, but happily the pain went away after a few weeks.
Hmm. I mean, I've seen some determined people over the years, but some of the updates that you posted over the following weeks, I mean, surely had, Speedway fans, and myself included, showing our raw emotions, and there was so much support for you in the comments, and that was really something that I found really emotional to read as well. And each time I saw something new, whether it was, I remember your first wee ride round Rybnik on the front of one of the bikes in September, your first steps on crutches, or then when we went into October, you had a little pedaling of a push bike. I mean, they were all really incredibly emotional to watch. And it's really not an exaggeration for me to say that, for me, I was in tears watching them. But did making these little posts and seeing the support that you were getting from fans, did that make you even more determined to succeed?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I didn't even like, I didn't want to keep it a secret. Like it looked like small steps, but for me it was important to show, and I felt really good about it. and it was good for me to share that with people. Like you said, there was like loads of positive comments, and that was really nice.
Hmm.
And I also wanted to show, like, you know, I want to get back. Like, it's not just, that's the end of it. I was like already at the early stage. I was trying to, um, how could I say, maybe not convince, because I don't have to convince anyone, because I knew I would do it. But I was trying to show that I'm doing this not just to come back to normal life and normal fitness. That's obviously very important, but I'm also doing it to come back on the bike, because that was the main motivation behind all of it.
Of course. And then in early January this year, I saw that you visited the 3P Logistics headquarters in Kolding in Denmark. I've been there myself last month visiting, and it's a wonderful building. And that's obviously where one of your main sponsors, Paul Christensen, he welcomed you and he pledged to support you again this year. I mean, how can you describe Paul and how he's helped you, not just this year, but previously as well?
Yeah, he's a really good guy. He's obviously done. Oh yeah, there you got it. That's right.
I've got the cap as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah. He's been really good, not just for me, but for the sport in general, and for many different things. It's amazing to see, first of all, how he built up the business, and how he's doing well, not just back home in Denmark, but also here in Poland and other countries. So that's so cool to see, and he's a good guy. It was fun to me also to come to his place in Kolding and visit him. I haven't been there before, so that was really nice. So, like you said, such a nice place, and it was pretty cool. Like, how can I say it? Obviously, when you come on crutches to a sponsor, and you ask them to stay with you for the next season, some might be like, maybe not. You're
Yeah.
not gonna come back. What are you talking about? Yeah, but Parf, was like, he believed in me, and then we had a good chat, and he could see that I was going in the right direction, and like we talked about, he had the same mentality like I had. Don't
Mhm.
come back too fast, because you have only one chance to do this like great comeback. So take your time, but do steady progress, and then your time will come. And yeah, he stayed with me. Like, thankfully, many other of my sponsors also did. So that was not only him, but I had a great support from generally my sponsors and family, and that helped me a lot, because let's be honest, if you're not on track, you don't earn any money.
Of course, and I can imagine how important that was, getting that support from all of these sponsors. And at that point, kind of January time, did you still have hopes for racing still at the start of this season?
Yeah, I actually did. I knew it was going to be a long shot, but I was like, man, I gotta try it, because everybody's like, man, you can barely walk. I was like, it doesn't matter, I can race a bike. But I went on the bike, and in February, actually, end of the February, just to try, and it wasn't bad, but I still had screws in my right ankle,
Uh-huh.
which disturbed me more than I thought.
Okay.
And many people thought, oh, you broke your back, you can't move your left foot, but that was also obviously a problem. But the main problem was actually a broken ankle. Like, who would have thought? Yeah. But that disturbed me so bad, and I had to wait uh, for surgery, for next surgery, where he took out just one screw. He couldn't take out the whole thing, because it was still not like, there was still some part of it that was not healing like exactly like we wanted to. So after that, he took out the screw. I tried again in March. I still just a little bit of strain. I still felt like the screws was disturbing when I was standing on the right leg on the motorbike, because in speedway you need the right leg to push down in the hook to slide, because
Yeah.
without the right leg you won't turn the bike. So that was pretty important, and I realized, I need to get this metal or titanium out of the ankle before I can race properly. And in May, I had another surgery. He pulled out another two screws. I still got seven screws and a plate, but it's not that bad anymore.
Okay.
But he took out the two longest screw in May, and after that, I started to race more. Like, it was a little bit better, but I still had to get back into it.
So, I mean, are these remaining screws, are they going to stay in or now, or is that decided, or are they going to come out?
Hopefully it's come out this winter, but it hasn't really. In May it still hasn't gone together exactly like it's supposed to be. Maybe now it's better, but it doesn't disturb me that much.
Hmm.
However, I do feel it, and I do think it's worth taking it out because it doesn't actually take a long time. Like they
Hmm.
didn't even knock me out, they just gave me something down there and took it out. Like a few screws took maybe 20 minutes, so now I think maybe an hour or something and it'll be out. So it's not even that bad, but it's just not healing like that fast as you want to. So we'll see. We'll take a new photo here in the winter, new X-ray, and if it's good enough, I think I'm gonna go for it just to get that out of the head because I'm still
Yeah,
thinking, maybe it will be a little bit better if I didn't had that. There's a little bit of discomfort when I have like when I go all the way down on the foot. I feel like something is blocking me, so I can race with it, no problem. But if it's possible to take it out, then why not?
absolutely. So the season started in March, and obviously at that point you weren't ready, but then you took on a new role as a presenter for Canal Plus, and not only me, but I think everyone. Not only Polish people, but I mean everybody that's in the continental European Speedway group. We've kind of marvelled at your professionalism and your calmness, and the fact that you obviously impressed everyone with your determination and your absolute fluency in Polish. I mean, how easy was it for you to transfer your skills to take on that role? And I mean, did you actually get nervous in the studio because it never looked like it?
Not really, because I actually had last year during the season. I had a few like
Guest
that was
appearances? Yeah,
yeah, I did actually. So I knew what it was all about, and obviously when you're used to racing, when you're used to the pressure, it's like it doesn't really get to you. I also feel like I was prepared as much as I could because on such things you can't really prepare a lot because you have to analyze the things that's happening here and now. So I feel like I just have to talk. I just have to say what I see, and the
yeah,
Polish is pretty good. I don't really struggle that much with the language anymore. There's obviously a few details that could be a lot better. You can hear accent on
uh-huh,
me like you can with my English. Is also not perfect, but I can speak normally. I don't think about it. So yeah, it's Speedway. I love it. I love to watch Speedway also. So I felt pretty good with it. No problem at all. I was just like jealous I couldn't ride myself.
of course. I mean, I read comments in lots of Polish Facebook groups about when you were presenting, and they were unanimously positive, which was great for me to read. But you also passed the Speedway instructor course, so it seems to me that you've kind of used this rehabilitation time extremely wisely, kind of widening your skills base to prepare yourself just in case you didn't make it back on the bike. Would that be fair to say?
Maybe yes and maybe no. I knew from the beginning I was gonna come back to the bike, but
Hmm.
I didn't want to do it anyway because it was a fun thing for me to do in the winter just to stay entertained, let's say that. Learn the
Yeah.
new things, learn about the rules and talk with some guys, talk with the other coaches, yeah, and learn a few things here and there. And
Yeah.
it was also an opportunity for me to get a job here in the club, talk with the young guys, teach them a few things, and that's obviously a thing that I like. But I also have to be honest and say it was a job behind besides the TV thing. The TV thing couldn't do it alone. I had to do something else to get it all working because
Of course.
when you're not riding, well, the
You're not.
bikes don't eat. The bikes don't eat and drink, but it's still like you still got a van, you still got a workshop to pay, you still got some other things. So it's not a cheap sport, and when you're not riding, it's you have to earn some money. Yeah, so I thought, what could I do
Yep.
in speedway and still earn a little bit of money. Yeah, so I went to the TV thing, I went to the trainer thing, and I had some fun time flights. So yeah, it's been funny.
Good. And then so we've seen these various updates for the past 2 or 3 months, and then just a few weeks ago, I saw you really giving it a big handful on the track and looking more like the rider we always remember, loving watching. And then this week, I read your latest thoughts saying basically you feel almost ready to race now, and I realised and understood suddenly that the impossible really had become possible. So can you tell kind of group members what you kind of hope for in the last 3 weeks of the season, and how that might set you up looking ahead to 2025?
Yeah, I mean, I had a few practices with the team here in Rybnik, and all of a sudden, they were like, the boys were practicing behind the tapes, and then the boss was like, wow, already? Yeah, okay, let's have a go, yeah. And the first one was hard, had to get that out of the way, but after a few starts, just dropped the clutch, went ahead, and actually already won a few, not just with the juniors, but also with one of a few of the seniors also. So I can still do it, but I still need to loosen up a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and especially when I'm behind, I need to, normally I could push a little bit harder, and then if there wasn't space to come through, I could make some space, maybe go bar to bar banging. And now it's like I still a little bit defensive, and I need to loosen up a little bit. But
Okay.
mate, I haven't ridden for a year, so that's like
Of course.
normally when you come back in March, everybody's also like, a little stiff, have to get in back into it. So it's exactly the same for me. The most important is for me that there's no pain and
Mm-hmm.
no like I don't really feel any problems when riding. Like obviously I see still
Yeah.
my right leg is a little bit different position than normal, but I can live with that. We can work on that.
So if there are any like open meetings between now and the end of the season, or individuals, you would be happy to take part in them?
Yeah, I'm actually searching these days. Obviously, here in Poland, it's still hard for some clubs because the league is still going on.
Yeah.
But there is going to be something. I have been already in contact with a few places, not just here in Poland, but also outside Poland. Maybe Germany will be something. Maybe Czech. We will see. But I'm working on it, and I try to get some meetings, and yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm obviously gonna do it without any pressure, just out to have fun and to test myself, 4 riders, 4 laps, and see how we feel.
Well, I mean, I'd like to really thank you, Patrick, for your time today. It's been really inspirational for me to talk with you, and I know that when I upload this to the Continental European Speedway Group, it's going to be a really popular video for people to watch. I think we're all amazed at how determined you've been, and also how calmly you've kind of gone about the last year. From the outside, you just seem so determined to make it work again. So, on behalf of all of the group members, I think we'd all like to wish you all the best for the rest of this year. And obviously, going into 2025, all the very best for racing again. And we'll all be willing you on as you go forward. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's been a pleasure, and take care.